Okay, so what's up, y'all? Welcome to another YouTube video. Here is where we will get into an in-depth guide why you are still living and why you keep living below your potential. And I'm gonna explain you, I'm gonna show you why I kept and how I kept living below my potential for 5 years straight. And if I knew that when I was starting, when I was at my start point 2 years ago, right here, I would have achieved, I'm not kidding you, my results 2-3 times faster. And I want you to do that. Okay? I genuinely want you to achieve your potential to the fullest, to the max. The potential that you deserve by doing the actions and the habits that you need to do every single day. And the thing I got wrong the most was I was thinking I was making progress. Okay? I was thinking I was making progress in my life. But actually, when I came to the point of just sticking to it 2 weeks more, 3 weeks more, 4 weeks more, 2 months more, to the point where I could see my output, where I could see the labor of, where I could see the fruit of my labor, I decided to quit and go back to my old habits and fall back down again. And I got back to the starting point and I kept living in that loop of thinking I was making progress because I actually was. I was making progress, but I didn't achieve my potential to the fullest, to the point where I could have climbed another cliff and another one and another one. Because in order for you to achieve the goal which is on this cliff, you first need to achieve the goal which is on this cliff, which is a cliff. So just for the sake of this presentation, I want to show you what these things mean here, okay? Now you may be thinking, what the fuck these things mean here? Okay, no worries. You may be a little bit confused now in the beginning, but that's why it's important for you to watch the whole video, so that way you will understand how to achieve your potential to a T. To a T, 100% guaranteed. Okay? If you take action, take notes, listen, okay? Let's get to it. So this flag right here is the goal you want to achieve. This cliff that you're climbing, this is you, this cliff that you're climbing is your journey. Okay, it is your journey. And in order for you, like I said, to achieve the goal on this cliff, you first need to climb this cliff. And the first climb this cliff. Take it step by step. Okay, this rope is your motive, is your why you're actually doing the things that you're doing. And the thing that rope is connected to is your belief anchor, is the self-belief that you have, is the self-confidence that you have. And if we implement the force of gravity here, the rules of gravity, if this self-confidence is not big enough, is not rooted enough, is not planted enough in the journey, in the cliff, hard enough, what's going to happen is when you pull with all of your potential this rope, when you pull this rope with all of your potential, you, the rope, your why, and self-confidence are all going to fall down. Okay, so that's why it is important that your belief anchor needs to be rooted in the future so much that it enables you to achieve the outcome and the goal that you want to achieve in your life. Because if the shakiness is in your belief anchor, if your belief anchor is not big enough, if your belief anchor isn't rooted in the cliff hard enough, if it's not heavy enough, what's going to happen is you are not going to be able to climb with all of your potential because it is not planted enough, it is not heavy enough, it is not big enough. But the funny thing is, it is up to you to decide how big or how small this self-confidence and self-belief is going to be. And I trust you make it as big as possible by saying to yourself every single day, day by day, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to achieve this, I already have this result, I already have this result. The habits that I'm doing, those are the habits that a 2.0 version of myself is doing. Those are the things a 2.0 version of myself is doing. And I want to give you a little bit of understanding behind this picture. As you're climbing towards a goal, you don't see it, okay? But a 2.0 version of yourself that has that goal, that has achieved that goal, had to climb regardless of if he saw the goal. Okay, even sometimes the self-doubt that got thrown at him, the opinions of others that got thrown at him, all of this shit that got thrown at him by the environment, he didn't mind that shit because the rope, his why, and self-confidence were bigger and heavier than him. at that certain moment. And he was delusional enough. This guy right here was delusional enough that he is going to achieve this goal when climbing, even though he didn't see it. And that's when he saw it, he was like, holy shit, it's actually there. It's actually there. The goal is actually there. That's when the old friends, the old guy started to come back to him and be like, oh, you know, he started to be approved by the society. But now he doesn't give a fuck about those people anymore. It's a funny thing, isn't it funny? But if we not only implement the force of gravity to this ball here, to your belief anchor, but if we implement it to a rope as well, it doesn't matter how big this ball is. It doesn't matter how big this ball is, okay? It doesn't matter. It can be as big as a fucking Mount Everest, okay? If the rope that is attached to it is not strong enough, what's going to happen is when you pull with all of your potential, this rope is going to break. You're going to break the rope and you and the rope are going to fall down. Okay? So that's why your motive and your why needs to be strong enough as well. They both need to be strong enough as well. They're the same thing. I would say they're pretty much close to being the same thing. So I'm going to talk about them as one, as a whole thing. And you may be asking yourself a question, how do you make a motive and your why stronger? And you make them stronger by asking yourself the right questions. And the question I want you to ask yourself is, what is actually motivation? What is the definition of a motivation? What is the definition of motivation? Pause this video and think about it. What is the definition of a motivation if you ignore the fact that it is emotion, that it is a feeling? A motivation, the definition of a motivation, the simplest definition you can find, is that motivation is a motive to take certain actions. And the simplest way to make this motive, to make your why stronger, to make this rope stronger, is by attaching it to the outcome, by attaching it to the goal that you have, by attaching the action that you're doing to your motive. And I know you have to be delusional as fuck. I get it. I was as well. But you have to be delusional as fuck to believe that 20 push-ups in the morning journaling, nutritious diet, progressively overloading will get you to the best shape of your life, will get you to your dream life, will get you to have, for example, the money that you want, the women that you want, the car that you want, anything that you may want. You have to be delusional as fuck, I get it. But at the end, those are the habits that enable you to climb up that rope and achieve that goal. Those are the things. Those are those inputs that you need to do. And that's the first thing, okay? And the second thing is, which connects to this, they all connect to each other, the first and the second. We got through the first, so attaching your actions to your why. And so attaching strong enough emotional drivers to your why. And the second thing is, us people, we have selfish and selfless reasons to do so. We have selfish and selfless desires to do certain things, okay? Selfish desire for ourselves. My goal is this, my goal is this, I want to achieve this, I, me. It's always me. That is a selfish desire. And a selfless desire is a desire for the world, okay? I want to make a world a better place. I want to make my mom happy. I want to make my dad happy. I want to make my dad proud. I want to make my sister proud. I want to leave this earth with a bigger footprint. You know where I'm getting. And the problem most people have, and the problem why their motive and why is not strong enough, and why the rope keeps breaking, is because they only have a selfish reason to do certain things. Because when it comes, let's say, when they find themselves in a situation where they don't feel like going to the gym, but their goal is only about having a great physique, they are not going to go to the gym, because it is them having a dream physique versus their certain emotions. And certain emotions are always going to be stronger than your goal, than your selfish goals, always. And you can admit it to yourself. You have found yourself in these exact situations, and not just the gym, but any of situations like this in any part of your life. You have. Okay, I can guarantee you have. But I'm not saying that having a selfish reason, selfish goals is a bad thing. But what I am saying is that you can make this rope so fucking strong. You can make it have this red light here. I love this red light here. You can make it have this red light here by having a selfless desire, having a selfless reason to do certain things. Because now it's you, your emotions, and your selfish goals versus a selfless goal, versus you making your mom proud by getting into a badass physique, you donating a money to a charity, you leaving a world a better place with a bigger footprint, you helping out other people achieve the same as well. Because that selfless why, it's always going to be stronger than any of your emotions, any of your self-doubt. It's always going to be heavier. It's always going to be heavier than any of the opinions that get thrown at you. Because your environment determines how heavy this is, how heavy you are, and how hard your climb is going to be. Because there's a constant battle happening between your actions and the habits that will get you towards a goal versus people around you that try to destroy those habits, hold you back from doing the action that you need to do that will get you towards your goals. That might be the city, your friends, even your family sometimes, even your room, the simplest thing as you're not making your bed, anything. So that's why having an organized environment and having the right environment around you will enable you to climb up to this cliff easier. Because you're already climbing, I mean, you're already dealing with a shit ton of problems, so why would you deal with more problems? Doesn't make sense, right? When I had those things in order, not perfectly in order, but when I had them in order, when the rope was strong enough, when the self-confidence was big enough, when any of my self-doubt and any of my environment was not as heavy, or when it was not heavier than those two things, that is when I started to achieve my goals. The reason I said that I didn't have them perfectly in place was because now I am able to pull this rope with all of my potential and fuck up a lot of times, fail a lot of times, test a lot of times, and it is not going to break. I'm not going to fall down. I'm not, because they are both in the right place. They are still heavier than me. They are still heavier than my potential that I'm yanking the rope with. You get me? Now, when I was able to test, fail, okay, pull the rope, yank the rope as hard as possible, I was also, it's a funny thing, I was also able to learn what not to do. And by learning what not to do, I made my motive stronger. I made my self-confidence stronger. So that way I could test even more, fail even more, yank at the rope even more. So to conclude everything back together, it's not about conquering self-belief. It is not about conquering self-belief. It is really not. But it's about becoming a new identity, like I said in the beginning, who already has that thing. So that way the rope and self-confidence become heavy enough to support that. Okay? Because like I said, when you're climbing up here, you don't see the goal. But the 2.0 version of yourself that has that goal, he who has that goal, a 2.0 version of himself, he had to climb regardless. Regardless. The problem which a lot of guys are facing, and the problem I was facing as well, is that you want success. I wanted success. But you only do the habits and the actions to get the thing, to get the goal. You only do the actions that enable you to climb up here. Okay? So after 2 months, 3 months, when you have almost climbed to the top, but you don't see the goal yet, you start here. So after 3 months, you are now here. Okay? You are now here. So after 3 months, you have done a shit ton of progress, but when you're here, you don't see the goal yet, do you? You don't see it. You revert back to old habits because you weren't given the new future, therefore the new identity you wanted to be given to you. So it's like an invisible wall, kind of. But when you get past it, you can see the goal. But until then, you don't see the goal. You don't see the goal until we get past it. But that would mean you actually didn't become the new identity, because you would do the actions and the habits, like I said 2 times. This is the 3rd time for me saying this, because you would do the actions and habits regardless of if you were given the thing. And once that happens, once you get to that invisible line, that is when, like I said, you get the approval of the society that you have achieved this thing. But you knew it here that you are going to achieve this. Here, it is just the approval of society that you are a 2.0 version of yourself. But here, you already had that self-confidence, that why, ingrained hard enough in your subconscious mind, in your brain, that you are going to achieve this guy right here, this badass guy right here. So thanks for watching this. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to. Follow me on the Instagram at physique. I will leave a link down below. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace out.